world famous Parkway Diner in the lovely town of Stamford, Connecticut, on this most special and auspicious day, Monday, the 20th of January, the year of our Lord 2024, and the day that finally President Trump has been inaugurated. And we're off to a rollicking start. So I don't know if he's signed 200 executive orders yet, but I think he's pretty close. And let me just say, since I'm bringing it up, one of the most astonishingly brilliant ideas was to go to that arena, the Capitol Arena, Washington, D.C., and sit in front of the cheering crowd signing those executive orders. Brilliant, okay? Not so brilliant is that phone that's ringing, which needs to be turned off, right, Wilm? Yes. Okay, thank you. Anyway, yeah, where do I start? Okay, calls to action, Yankee T News. Like, subscribe, visit, tell everybody. It's Tell Tong Time, especially as Mr. Holman gets ready to pay him a visit. Hey, buddy, you gonna pack your bag soon? Yeah. Well, I guess you're still doing that tour around the state, lying to people about sanctuary cities. Yeah. And Tina Peters, her site is back up. I'm going to want to go over, an event, a development from December concerning her. We'll get to that. So the theme for the evening, while we're celebrating President Trump's inauguration, is that we have to look down the road at the stuff that's coming. So my theme is, which bomb will go off first? And I only chose 3. That would be Hamas, Putin, or the sanctuary cities. So in the case of Hamas, we know that, all right, so some hostages have been released, but I am under the impression that Hamas has continued to negotiate in bad faith. And if we're being honest, they have not kept their promise. So I think there's going to be a little pressure on them and how that's going to unfold. We'll see, because do remember, President Trump more than once spoke in very clear terms about what was going to happen to them if they didn't release the hostages. Now, I'm under the impression that they have not. And okay, what about good old Putin? Yeah, Putin. We're going to get into that a little bit later too, but the key thing is that there's a guy, his name is Dmitry Rogozin. Okay, so Dmitry Rogozin can be considered the near future of Russia. Military man, and so he's, how did they put it, 13 years, 11 years. He's 11 years younger than Putin. He's 61. A very tall, commanding person when you see him. And he's been making a lot of noise about really, quote, going for it. Now, since I'm on this, I'm not clear on the timing of Mr. Rogozin's remarks. Basically, he said accelerate, decapitate, and mobilize. So in other words, while he's expecting that there may be peace talks, this is the time for Russia to move as quickly as it can. Well, I would equate that, Mr. Rogozin, with telling people to run across an icy pond as quick as they can without any skates on. You can only go so fast. A winter offensive is the weakest kind of offensive in that region. So while you're making these bellicose remarks at a time when it's very hard to stage an offensive, is a little unclear to me. But you did it. Okay, good for you. So someone like him could make the situation worse rather than better, just saying, or Putin may have to put him in his place. We'll see. As for the sanctuary cities, okay, we have seen the mayor of Chicago be very rebellious, and I'll even say sanctimonious. Now, why this gentleman wants so hard to protect criminal, illegal aliens is beyond me and beyond everybody else. But this has been the story with the Democrat Party since Biden's administration began. It's just crazy. All right, and then, so this is still unfolding. I'm just going to go out and make a prediction, and that prediction is Tom Homan will do the unexpected. You may be expecting raids, but expect him to do something that nobody anticipated. All right, so all of that said, If you're not familiar with the term black swan refers to a surprising and totally unexpected event, right? Black swans are very rare. So this was a term coined by Nicholas Taleb in a book by the same name, Black Swan, in which he describes those events which are improbable, yet they do occur, and they can upset a system dramatically. Okay, so we could see that kind of event as a first crisis for President Trump. And I just need to also point out that in hard times, we need great men. Historians have observed that when a situation has become, when a country is in trouble, that's when strong, capable men tend to emerge. So I don't know, ours is a curious situation because we have gone from a situation with arguably one of the worst presidents in history to a person who will be one of the best in history. So yeah. Anyway, also on the promo, which should have been sent out, right, Eric?
Right.
Right, yeah, promo. There's a little clip I put up that says the answer to all your questions, who they really are. So in that clip, what you have are the smattering of protesters who were in Washington, D.C. And this particular clip shows some people rolling up a guillotine, right? An operational guillotine in order to make a dramatic statement. And you had other people messaging different things, just standing around. But it just shows that this is the kind of vile, evil attitude that defines our opponents, just saying. Okay, now the fun part. The house cleaning begins. Yes, it does. So if you didn't catch it, President Trump has noted that he's pulling the security clearance of the 51 liars who had said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation when it was not. Okay, so their security clearances are gone. And since those guys want to be consultants and they don't have security clearances, they're just not going to be that attractive to other companies. Meantime, of course, the announcement about the executive orders. So the talk is 200 plus. I don't know what the count is at the moment, but I have this picture in my mind. I can see President Trump sitting there with that distinctive signature. Boom, holds it up. Next, bring it on. Okay, boom, holds it up. Next, and just keeps going. So I think the fun part will be when we get to really analyze these executive orders tomorrow and the days coming. So there's that. Now, the other thing is, besides the executive orders here, I just got a couple more things here. Okay, so we had announcements about some officials who have quit, quote, prematurely. So what you have to realize, there are people you and I will never hear of, all right, who have been a part of the deep state for a very, very long time. And these are people who play seminal roles in the perpetuation of the deep state. And in this particular case, there were three. If I could just quickly find their article. Where did it go? Yes. All right, Derek Hogan, Marcia Bernacat, and Elena Teplitz. All right, so they said, okay, we'll quit. I mean, they were asked to go. We'll go. Okay, no fuss. But these were the people who think of them as coaches, think of them as personal trainers. These are the people who are responsible for grooming and developing new talent within the State Department. And they were always making sure that those people sung from the same hymnal, which was the hymnal of the deep state. That would be the Satanic Bible. Okay, so they're gone. That's a start. That's good. I like it. And then, let's see, what's the other goodie? Oh yes, the head of the IRS. He retired 3 years early. These people are fleeing like rats, and that's the best thing you could ever hope to see, all right? Now, I just want to go back to Israel real quick here. I got to get this off my chest. So there's this article from American Thinkers called High Noon in Israel, and the author draws an analogy between the cowboy movie High Noon, 1952 classic, which starred Gary Cooper as William Cain and Grace Kelly as his bride, Amy. Long story short, the sheriff finds that, all right, so there's this bad guy that he'd put away in prison. He'd been released. Now he was coming back for revenge. Nobody in the town wanted anything to do with this guy. The bad guy was coming back. So Cain was all alone. Yes, so that is seen as an analogy for how Israel has to deal with the terrorism around it. So let me just take a minute. I consider this important because this really sums it up beautifully. You got the Biden administration, to America's shame, has played a double game with Israel. It supplied arms, but it slow-walked their shipment. It visited the Knesset, but undermined Israel's elected leader. It helped coordinate defense against Iranian missile attacks, but leaked military plans and intel. It played lip service to Israel's right to defend itself, but politically pandered to Israel's enemies by coming right up to the line of accusing Israel of genocide. That's really, so there you go. I mean, that's a perfect example of how a politician can be extraordinarily two-faced. So let's hold on to that as a textbook example. All right, meantime, just a quick update on the LA fires. So I'm kind of shocked and surprised at how long it's taking to get the Pacific Palisade fire under control. So the latest, incredibly, is that as of yesterday, the fire was 59% contained. 59%. That's pathetic, okay? They should have this, I mean, it's like they're not even taking it seriously as far as I'm concerned. And so for the fire, so in the Pacific Palisades, more than 6,000 structures have been destroyed. The other major fire, of course, is the Eaton fire. That's 87% contained and has destroyed more than 10,000 structures. What a mess, right? So I just had to share that with you. And yeah, a lot of people just may decide they're not going to rebuild. But where are they going to go? Is another part of California is going to inspire them to leave California? We just don't know yet. All right, in the meantime, the other item is the devil is still in Georgia. You might remember that Charlie Daniels song. Well, the devil's still there. There's a gentleman, State Senator Colton Moore, who was treated horribly. He was, what started it was that he gave a speech on the floor of the state Senate criticizing a former House Speaker who was, had since passed away. But Senator Moore found this gentleman to be exceptionally corrupt, exceptionally without integrity. And the other people were not pleased and were trying to shut him up, but he kept talking. So when he came back, there's another, yeah, anyway, there's more of the story, but I just want to say this is a person who was mistreated, and I think illegally, and he has a basis for bringing suit. So again, thrown to the floor, arrested by the state police, hauled off, and yeah, we're going to hear more about this, but I wanted you to know about it, all right? So now you know about it. And yeah, wow, that's all I got to say. Christopher Wray, where is he going to stand in history? Okay, where is he going to stand?
Probably in a toilet.
Perhaps worse. So here we have, I think this was from American Thinker. It was about the 60 Minutes interview that Chris Wray did recently. And then so there was a Breitbart News article about this. And this really sums it up, okay? Here they have followed all these groups that are setting up pot farms in remote areas of California, Maine, and other places. FBI knows about them. They haven't done anything about it. And why? It's the same old story. Well, we just can't establish motivation. We just can't establish a connection. China is communist and controls everything in the country, yet Wray cannot find the connection. This is ridiculous. So I've been wholly hoping and praying those will be one of many things that President Trump will deal with quickly. The other thing I want to mention, So another poll has come out. The Democrats' standing in the nation continues to decline, all right? And I have a feeling it's going to go even lower. When we start to prosecute some of these mofos, the Democrat Party is going to have a real problem on their hand, okay? Because there's no excuse for what these people did.
Can we opine just for a big segue for like 5 minutes
On
how this affects municipalities in blue states of Republicans who are still clinging to their pearls with the old Republican Party?
Already because I went so then directly to the meeting.
Let's see. I need some more clarity on that. So you're talking about blue states. You're talking about the Republicans in the blue states, and you're suggesting that they're clutching their pearls while what?
Well, some of them, particularly those here in Connecticut, are holding on to the idea that they're still like the ideology of the Bush eras.
Oh, are you talking about rhinos?
Correct.
Oh, well, okay. I will opine, since you asked me to opine. The problem with rhinos, as I think we're slowly learning, is that they love power, okay? They want to be able to sit at the table and be able to supposedly have some kind of input. They don't care that it's scraps from the political table. They just want to be at the table, all right? And they don't look around. They don't ask themselves, am I really being effective here? That means nothing to them, nothing, okay? And in sitting at the table, they can look at conservatives and they say, look, we're reaching out. We're reaching across the aisle. We're working together. No, you're not. Yeah, no, thank you, Eric. You're jerking off, all right? So this love for power, it's of a type, and I don't know how to explain it. It's a psychological disturbance where you think you have power and you don't. You're kind of like a camp follower. It's, yeah, so we see this going on all the time. And so long as those types are around, the Republican Party will not really, quote, get anywhere. So, I mean, unfortunately, that's where I see that at the moment. All right, I just got 3 other things I got to quickly finish here. What will you do when you can't buy or sell anything on the internet without your UN-mandated digital identity chip? All right, so where did I pick this up from? A website, see, economiccollapse.report. So we have the link up. You can go check it out. And it's part of the same, I don't know, we've listened to, you know, digital currency arguments and other concerns. This one seems to be a little bit different, but it's in the same spirit of globalism. Go have a look at it. So this is a heads up for you to go check it out. Meantime, so we have Tina Peters, all right? Tina Peters is, as far as I'm concerned, our heroine right now while she sits in prison for what, 8.5 or more years still to go. She holds the keys as far as the truth about election fraud in Colorado is concerned. So they've done their best to shut her up, and there's no better way to shut her up than to make sure she has a fatal accident. And so she's made it very clear that she's not suicidal, and that the latest...
Are you listening, Pam Bondi?
Yeah, well, Pam would not have jurisdiction over this. This is a state matter. She was, you know, prosecuted by the state, not by the federal government. Maybe there's a way. I just don't know what it would be at this moment. So in any event, so she's been shifted to another prison, supposedly out of safety concerns. This was back in December. But, quote, we're going to try and monitor the situation. Yeah, and her website is back up. Okay, so anyway, the last thing, our bonus for tonight, is you may have heard of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk talking about, that's right, making government, the federal government more efficient, whatever that looks like. Well, one act of efficiency is to reduce the government. And now, so there's been a few mentions here and there about selling off some government property. Besides the way, selling government property is a standard practice of the federal government. You have a group called the General Services Administration, and they will handle efforts to sell government property. If you remember, some people bought abandoned missile silos, and they have bought them as homes. So you see stories about those, for example, from time to time. Okay. In this case, though, the suggestion is that there may be up to $1 trillion worth of distressed federal assets that can and should be sold. So this sounds interesting, and when we get more on that, we'll tell you about that too. But until now, I am done, and thank you very much.
Well, but we're not quite done yet.
Oh,
I
yeah?
just
What's
wanted
that?
to TikTok, and could you please address the caveat?
The thing we talked about?
Yes, a little bit earlier. Yeah.
Wow. So this was on I think it was on Fox News. Okay, so let me tell you about it. It is the secret golden share of stock. All right. So there I am watching this. Now, some of you may know Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, and then, of course, we know the august senator from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham. Both of them had heard about this thing called the secret golden share of stock. No one had ever heard of this. Well, we didn't know about it until we ran up against the communist Chinese government in an effort to deal with TikTok. So it turns out that the communist government mandates that for any, quote, publicly traded company or any enterprise, that there is one, what they call golden share of stock, that trumps all the other shares. It is one vote that nullifies all the other votes. Well, guess who owns these secret golden shares? That's right, Prime Minister Xi. All right, so if there's any notion of, quote, selling or breaking up TikTok, it's going to have Xi's approval. Not a commission, not a government agency, Xi himself. So we don't know how this is going to play out. But it's on its face, I think for a lot of people it's a deal killer, and that's unfortunate because I'm in the camp that says we can't afford to have these security risks that are ongoing. And I say this recognizing that there are millions, tens of millions of people who are making a living off of TikTok. I'm sorry. You know, our national security means something. It's not for sale. It can't be compromised. So it's going to have to be dealt with.
Now, we need to give a call to action to all of our current subscribers, those of you who are watching by television, phone, or desktop computer, laptop computer.
Yeah.
Call to action is to get all of your friends to subscribe.
Oh, yes.
Now, if we, as soon as we get to 10,000 subscribers, if you can help us get to 10,000 subscribers, our generous and our gracious host here will be seen in Joker attire.
I see. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So help us get to 10,000. If you want to see our humble host in Joker attire, get us to help us get to 10,000. Tell your friends.
Right.
Share it with your friends. Troll your friends if you have to. Share it with your grandmother. Share it with your aunts, your uncles, your sisters, your cousins. Share it with people that in your family that you absolutely abhor and hate. Share it with share it with absolutely everybody. Okay? Share it with your politicians. Send the link to our channel to your favorite or worst politicians. Share the link to our channel to Donald Trump and all of his cronies and all of his friends. Send it to Send a link to our channel to P. Diddy. Send it to everybody.
That's quite the promotion. Well, all right. Obviously, since Eric has set me up for this, I will have to concur that if we can. Well, wait. I'll tell you what. We have to have the 10,000 subscribers by no later than July 1st. Is that okay?
Well, that's a lofty goal, but we'll try to make it happen.
Yes, okay, right. So there you go. Tell your friends. We're trying to build our subscribers. And for that, I will see you next week. And look for our shorts.